Welcome to Justice, a lawyer's hangout, where we dissect legal issues and educate the public on the law. I am Chizaram Lilian Oyike, and here with me today are my colleagues, Munirat Adama and Jennifer Obama. Welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. On today's episode, we'll be discussing inheritance in Nigeria, legal framework, challenges, and the way forward. While statutory laws aim for equality and clarity, customary practices often raise issues, especially around gender discrimination and rights of children born out of wedlock. The courts have made notable interventions, yet challenges remain in enforcement awareness and reform. Now, let's dive into it. Mr. Mund, I'm going to ask you the first question. Okay. What are the major legal frameworks governing inheritance in Nigeria, and how do they differ across statutory, customary laws and Islamic laws in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Chizera. It's a pleasure to be with you today, Jake. Chizera, for me, I see it as an issue. There are no unified laws that governs inheritance as one laws in Nigeria. Like what I've said one time on this show, Nigerians operate a unilateral system of legal system. So not precise framework or a particular law governs a particular subject in the whole country as one law. I don't know if you get.
I get with me.
So to dive into your question, we have the statutory law that governs inheritance. We have customary law and we have Islamic law, also known as Sharia law. So while the statutory law, even in the statutory law, there's still no unified law. We have the Wills Act of 1834. You can imagine 1834. We don't even have a current Wills Act. We have the Administration of Estate Laws of various states. We have probate rules in the High Court. We have Married Women's Property Act of 1882. We have customary law so we have various customary laws. So when you come down to customary law, for that of the South is there. That of the North, it's not same thing as South. How they share properties in the North is not the same thing as South. Even when you come to South, how they share in Anambra might not be the same the way they share Abia.
Yes.
Even within the customary law, it's not unified. The only laws among this one that have even the unified one is the Sharia law. Because according to the Quran and the Hadiths, there's a specific fraction that has been stated there to be shared because it recognized polygamy and the rest. Everything is being shared according to the fraction and proportion already stated in the Hadith. So that one is anywhere you go, Sharia laws, division of property or inheritance is same thing.
I definitely agree with you when you say that at least Nigeria should have a unilateral legal system where most really that covers inheritance. I definitely agree with you. Miss Jennifer. She mentioned the Wills Act. Now, the question I want to ask you is, why is it important for Nigerians to write a will? And what common myths or fears discourage people from doing so?
No, I know, and I think it is very important to write a will. It gives you this control of what happens when you are no more. It also makes you decide who gets what when you are no more. It also protects your family. It protects your spouse and your child when you are no more. And it prevents fights. It brings peace in the family.
And it rests conflict.
Yes, it takes away conflict. Yes, yeah, that's what I mean. And for me, I think the common fear that prevent people from writing a will, Nigerians and most persons will feel like when they write a will,
they're about to die
soon. But that's not true. I mean, the honest truth is that all of us will die someday. That's the truth. All of us is like, whether you write or not, we still die someday. So it brings about peace, the family. And some other persons will be like, oh, I don't even have much property. I don't have any land anywhere. But you have a car. You have a roof under your head. I mean, you have to allocate those things to other people. So that if you're not around, I mean, everybody will be at peace. And some persons say, oh, my family, they are peaceful. Then, like, I have a peaceful family. If I'm not around, we share everything peacefully and all that. But to see so many families, they shout out, they got like family conflicts, war, when
There's when the person died.
when this person died, but if there was a will, all these things the conflict will not even, it will not even be a problem.
Yes, I most definitely agree with you. A valid will can prevent confusion, like you just mentioned, and legal battles, and even breakdown of relationships. You see siblings who fight over and over because of properties, and a will clearly states who gets what, like you mentioned, how much and what, and under what conditions, reducing the chances of conflict among surviving relatives, like you mentioned. Thank you so much, Miss Jennifer, for that input. Miss Moon, I'm going to come to you right now.
All right.
So how does Nigerian inheritance law treat polygamous families, especially under customary law and Islamic law? And what are the legal challenges in those cases?
All right, thank you. When you talk about polygamy, mostly is the customary law and the Sharia law that provides for polygamous. As for the statutory laws, we all know is considered bigamy when you have more than one wife or partner. Yes. But for the Sharia law, it recognizes it, and then it provides, like I said earlier, overlapping of where one marriage is statutory, the other one is customary. I don't know if you have come across such story before, where you see someone married someone
Via statutory law.
no, customarily. You take her home, you get married to her, you come back to the city. At the long run, I'm telling you a true life story. At the long run, you saw someone more educated, more placed, and more placed, right?
Yeah.
And you get married to that one. That one insists, oh, marry me in court. And you go to court and you marry. And he's deceased. And then what do you think will happen? This one will be like, I'm the first wife. This one will be, I'm the second wife. That tussle of clash between statutory marriage and customary marriage is one of the challenges we have. We have, court sometimes struggles with reconciling equal protection. You know that I commend the court for that. Over and over again, they try to implement Section 42 of the 1999 Constitution, which talks about equality. No one shall be discriminated by reason of birth or by reason of gender or whatsoever. You should not be discriminated as long as you're a human being. They try to use that clause to settle this inheritance law, but yet it's a struggle. Because this one is saying, in my culture, they do this. In my culture, they do that. My forefathers did it that way. In my mother's land, this is how it's done. And I think lack of written documents. The customary law, like I said earlier, is scattered all over. You can't say this is what is being done. Yes. This is what. So it causes prolonged litigation. So these are some of the challenges here and there. Yes. For don't just I would like to take this a question in a broader mode, apart from polygamous family.
Yes.
As customary law of inheritance in full.
Ms. Munira, thank you very much for that input. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chidera.
So, Ms. Jennifer, I'm going to bring you in here. What happens when someone dies without a will? And how is property distributed? And who takes priority under the Nigerian law?
Okay, when someone dies without a will, we say the person died
Intestate, yes.
The law takes over the property and share it accordingly. So, and these properties are distributed according to the three main legal systems we have in Nigeria here. That's the statutory law, customary law, and Islamic law. For the statutory law, the spouse take 1/3 of the property, then the children take 2/3 of the property. And also, if there's no child, then the property is being shared between the wife, that's the spouse, and the parent. Yeah. And if the disease died single, then the parents takes over everything. For the customary law, most times in Igbo lands, the male children, they inherit the property, they inherit the property, and most times they leave the spouse, that's the wife, and the daughter with nothing. It's against Section 42 of the Constitution, which talks about discrimination. For Islamic law, there's a fixed method of sharing. There's a fixed method of sharing for the Islamic law, and also sometimes the male children, they get twice of what the female children is.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Jennifer, for that. To clarify what you just said, when someone dies without a will, it's said that the person dies intestate, like she mentioned. Their property is shared based on what the law and how the law, based on the law that applies. It can be statutory, it can be customary, and it can also be Islamic law. And like she mentioned, under the customary law, the spouse and the children take priority. And if there are none, the estate now goes to the parents or the siblings of the deceased person, like she mentioned. And the court also issues letters of administration to manage this property. And we also talk about and under the customary laws, we have the inheritance follows ethnic traditions, often favoring the elder sons, like she mentioned, and or male relatives, which can exclude wives and daughters, which is, like she just mentioned, which is not in accordance with Section 42 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And also under the Islamic law, property is shared using a fixed formula in the Quran, with shares going to spouses, children, parents, and siblings. Now, talking about this, now let's put in a situation where now is an open question.
All right.
When what if a person dies and the person also prepared a will? And let's say I'm saying this based on the William SAN case that has been going on for years.
That's quite a popular case.
Yeah, it's a very popular case. The matter has been in court. It's not that he didn't have a will. There's a will in ground, but the children, the kids are still fighting for the property of the disease. Now, what do we have to say about that?
For Chief Williams' case, SAN, we all know is a legal luminary.
Yes.
And the contrast between the first SAN of Nigeria, legal luminary, and what is happening after he became deceased is an irony, I must say the least. But however, while we are saying that leave a will, right? And when you leave will, it's just a straightforward thing. You just go to the probate ministry registry and your will is administered. You should also I don't want to use the word pray, hope that you have a family that's in unity. Because the core issue of the Williams family was that who was supposed to lead Williams and Co.
Yes.
You understand? You know his popular son, Laddie Williams, SAN also. Yes. Who was to lead Williams and Co. And who was to take the incomes from the rental properties across Lagos. It became a power tussle. The Williams issue was not just about money.
It was about power.
It was about power and control and ego. Thank you very much, Chisholm. So while you said, okay, will is good, you should also hope that you have a family that has unity.
Yes.
You understand? That understand unity. And I think before you are deceased from the Williams case, I feel there should be proper succession plan.
Do you think when the person prepares a will, he should inform his children about it, or let them have an idea? Do you think that should happen? When, like Mr. Williams, when he prepared his will, do you think he was supposed to maybe tell his children that, oh, this person gets this person gets that?
I honestly don't think so.
You think it will cause conflict from even when he's alive?
Even when he's alive.
So how?
But have you thought of this fact that what if you put precision to this matter? Because this matter now is control. There's no Williams family who is poor. They all are wealthy. But issue of control. What if in the control level, e.g., we're not even talking about the money now. We're talking about control of the property. You, so person, maybe for example, Laddie Williams, SAN of blessed memory. This is where you are supposed to be, and this is where you're supposed to be. And they're functioning that way until you became deceased. Don't you think it would have been better? Maybe in terms of money, what gets what, it might cause jealousy even when they're there. What in terms of control? Because in terms of this Chief William issue, it's an irony to say the least, but then his control was the issue.
You believe that there's a reason why the law, there's a different reason why the system is. when you write a will, nobody will know nobody will know about it. Tells until you are deceased, then your lawyer will come.
Yes, for confidentiality, of
For
course.
confidential
Yes.
yes.
And not to cause rift between the beneficiary of the will.
Yes, yes.
And what if after disclosing the will to his family and they decide to
Still fight the way they are fighting.
Yes, and
before
yes, of course.
But then again, very importantly, it's not about leaving will alone. Your will should be clear. There should be clarity in your will.
Yes.
It should be precise and it should be fair. I've had the story. I'm trying to remember the name of this story where he left the will to his second wife and her children without anything going with his first wife of up to 20 years before he married the second wife. What do you think will happen? The children of that first wife will definitely challenge that will. Yes, will is absolute, but then not so absolute.
I agree. I think I also had a story. I think in one of our law books where a man died and willed everything to his mistress.
Okay.
Yeah. So the wife challenged the will in question.
Most
So like you
definitely.
said, when you're preparing a will,
And I think she won that case.
yes, she did.
Yes.
The will should be precise. It should be very it should be very fair. I definitely agree with.
I think when it's clear and it's fair, it's usually we do not have any legal tussle.
Any legal so
Yes.
Thank you so much. Because of time, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
As a people and members of LJE Green Community, we share a deeper commitment to protect not only our environment, but also the rights and dignity of all individuals within our reach. Every day, we are faced with responsibility to uphold human dignity. If you see something happening around you, do not turn blind eye. We must act because that's where our role as ambassadors come in. Being an ambassador doesn't require any superpower. It requires awareness, compassion, and the willingness to speak up. If you see something, say something. It's our duty to stand up for justice and amplify the voices of those who can't speak for themselves. One voice can spark a movement, and together we can create a nation that values human life. You can reach us on 070-5236-8821 or visit our website at www.ljenigeria.org to report a violation. Remember, if you see something, say something.
Welcome back to this episode. Before the break, we were discussing inheritance law in Nigeria. To round off this conversation, I'm going to start with you, Miss Munirat. This is an important aspect of this topic. Now, what are the legal rights of women and children born out of wedlock under the Nigerian inheritance law, and how have courts addressed discriminatory practices in Nigeria?
Sure. I will really commend the Nigerian courts.
Yes.
They have been really actively working and trying and giving judgments and rules and orders to eradicate sidelining women and children from inheritance and will. For example, we have Ukeje versus Ukeje. That is a very significant and very mind-blowing judgment that was given, I think, in 2017 or so, if I'm not wrong. Igbo daughters for a long time. I mean, Chizaram, you're Igbo.
Of course.
You should be aware of this. And of course, Ubanwa. Igbo daughters for a long time had been excluded from inheriting properties or from inheritance as a whole. But this judgment came to reverse that. That it doesn't matter your gender, you have right to inherit from your parents' property. Otherwise, the Igbo daughters could not smell inheritance, especially if they were married, And for children born out of wedlock, under statutory law, of course, yes, they can inherit. Of course, they can inherit. Right. Under customary law, they can inherit because they are not recognized as legitimate children. They call them illegitimate. That's the word they use. But however, in James versus James, of course, this particular perception has been overturned. That's whether you were born out of wedlock, as long as your father has proven and has accepted that you are his child, you are entitled to his property, whether in a marriage or not. And then we have Islamic law also. Of course, we have been saying it even before we went for the break, that Islamic law has a proportion. This proportion is shared among children of the marriage, whether polygamous or not. So when you are not part of these children within the family, you have no portion or fraction apportioned to you. So definitely is no under the Islamic law. So now you were asking about the judicial interventions. Like I said earlier, judiciary have really tried concerning this. The courts have increasingly applied Section 42 of the 1999 Constitution. They said no. The Constitution is the supreme law that governs us. And Section 42 is saying that nobody shall be discriminated by way of birth. That is very important. Just because I was born this certain way does not mean that I should be excluded for things that are naturally mine through my birth parent. And litigations, of course, the courts keep going through or accepting litigations, though how long in delay of trials that we may face, but litigations are actively going on where children born out of wedlock are being included in inheritance of their birth parents. Petitions of ways. Okay, now let me take it this way. If you are a child born out of wedlock or women, and anyone denies you of your right, I beg your pardon, denies you of your rights, you can approach the court through litigation. You can apply to a petition to the administration of estates. And if it's Islamic law, you can actually appeal to Sharia court or the customary courts. So the law has provided for both children born out of wedlock and women appropriately. Even customary laws are being rejected actively in court these days.
I really commend the Supreme Court for that decision in Ukeja and Ukeje.
Yes.
Because as an Igbo lady, like you just mentioned, I was talking to someone one day about this inheriting your father's property,
Yes.
inheriting the father's property.
Yes.
And he mentioned to me, he said something. He said, why will you inherit your father's property and you also go to your husband's house and also inherit property from there?
Yes.
So some people feel like it's cheating.
Yes.
He was saying it based on the fact that it's cheating that you inherit from your father and you also go and inherit from your husband. And if you look at it from that angle, most customary laws most customs don't even want you to inherit from both your father or even your husband.
Yeah.
So I really commend the Supreme Court for that judgment. So Ms. Jennifer, I'm going to bring you in here. How can families and communities peacefully resolve inheritance related disputes, especially where polygamy or extended family interests are involved?
Well, families, they can peacefully resolve polygamous issues by conducting family meeting, or mediations, where the family members will come around together and dialogue over the issues. If it doesn't work, then I advise them to get a lawyer to render legal advice. If legal advice is not working, you can go through alternative dispute resolution, that's ADR, which is why it's fast and less expensive and actually promote peace at the end of the day. If it doesn't obey, I think you just have to find yourself in the courtroom. So that the law is going to be enforced in full. Well, regardless of all these things, all these things can be avoided if you have a proper plan before your death, and that is if you
have a will.
If you have a will, all these things will be avoided.
Yes. Thank you very much for that. So, Ms. Mira, to bring you in here too, so what are legal remedies available to individuals who are unlawfully denied their inheritance? And what is the process for administering estates through probate in both testate and intestate situations?
Thank you. Not to waste time so much on the legal remedies, because I've said that earlier. You mentioned that yes, you for the Islamic law, you approach Sharia court or the customary court. For statutory remedies, you approach the court. And for customary, sometimes they resolve it amicably among the elders. But if push comes to shove, you still approach the court for proper proportioning. So for the administrative, for how to approach the courts or the registry for administrative administration of estate. Thank you very much. If the deceased is testate, meaning he left a will, simple, just approach the probate registry and they will administer it. Right. If there's no encumbrance or there's no one challenging the will. Right. Just go to the probate registry and everything will be done. And if you die intestate, you go to the administrative registry, where you will be appointed, an administrator will be appointed for that property that was left, the deceased left intestate, right? You approach your lawyer and your lawyer will go through the process for you. You can also go through the process yourself, but it's usually better and advisable to go through your lawyer because they were trained for this particular purpose. It doesn't mean you cannot go yourself, but the tussle here and there so that details will not be left out. So to reiterate my point, if the deceased left his property tested, it means just go to the probate, and if not, you go to the administrative. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Because of time, Ms. Jennifer, I'm going to ask you this question just to wrap up the conversation. What cultural practices and beliefs hinder a fair inheritance for women and vulnerable children?
For me, the cultural practices that hinder these things, like in the Igbo land, they discriminate the daughters and the wives from inheriting part of the deceased property. And we have seen situations where in Igbo land, the disease is no more. Then if the wife doesn't have a male child, they will just chase the widow out because she does not have a male child. Yes. And also these children born out of wedlock and also adopted children, sometimes they refuse giving them some part of the property or allow them inherit part of the property.
Some of them might tell, I know of one that they told him to go and look for his father.
There's some haughty things like that. Yeah. And these cultural practices are actually not nice. They are against Section 42, right? The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, right, which is against discrimination. Right. So for you to, how we can address this cultural pressures, how we can also engage the elders of the community, traditional rulers, the local chiefs, and tell them how harmful these customs are. And we can also, women, they should be able to speak up. They should be able to speak up for their rights. There are many laws already, and I feel like they should also enforce those laws, like the Child Rights Act and all of that.
Yes, thank you so much.
Before we go, I would like to reiterate this point. Over and over again, we have noticed that in some subject matters like inheritance, we notice that Nigerians do not have unified laws. Yes. Unified laws are scattered all over. I would like to put this point that Nigeria should find a way to have a unified law that will govern inheritance as a subject matter in Nigeria. If we don't do this, then the court will keep struggling to reconcile statutory inheritance with the customary and Sharia inheritance, and it's always going to be a tussle.
Thank you, Ms. Hunirat and Ms. Jennifer, for being here once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tizara. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Inheritance is not just about property. It's about justice, identity, and dignity. We have seen how outdated customs, legal gaps, and social inequalities continues to affect the rights of many Nigerians. But we've also heard powerful ideas and solutions, from legal reform to public awareness, from judicial activism to cultural dialogue. That being said, join us next time on Justice and follow us on our social media handles as LJE Nigeria. Until then, bye.